complete horror story. Disturbing true scary stories. The midnight broadcast. The static crackled through my headphones at exactly 3:33 a.m., just as it had every night for the past week. I'm Marcus Chen, overnight DJ at WKRP-FM, a dying radio station in rural Pennsylvania. The building itself is a relic, a converted funeral home from the 1940s, all crumbling brick and narrow hallways that smell like dust and something else. Something sweet and rotten that maintenance could never quite locate. Most nights, I'm alone. The automation handles the music, and I'm just there to make sure nothing catches fire. But that particular October night, when the static first interrupted my broadcast, everything changed. "Hello," I said into the MIC, thinking it was interference from a trucker CB radio. If someone's trying to reach the station, you'll need to call the request line. The static pulsed, almost like breathing. Then, beneath it, I heard something that made my blood freeze. A child's voice, thin and desperate. "Please? I can't find my mom." I yanked off my headphones, hot hammering. The voice hadn't come through my equipment. It had been inside my head, transmitted through the static itself. I checked the phone lines. Nothing. No calls. No text to the station number. "This is stupid," I muttered, trying to steady my breathing. "Bad wiring. That's all." But I knew our equipment. I'd been working at WKRP for 3 years, ever since dropping out of college. I knew every hum, every buzz, every quirk of our ancient broadcast system. This was different. I pulled up the security cameras on my computer. The building had 4: parking lot, front entrance, hallway, and the studio. All showed empty spaces illuminated by flickering fluorescent lights. I was alone. At 4:17 a.m., it happened again. The static erupted without warning, so loud I could hear it through the studio monitors even though I'd turned them down. This time, the child's voice was clearer, more urgent. She said she'd come back. She said to wait in the basement. "But it's so dark down here. And there's something else, something breathing." "Who is this?" I demanded, speaking into the void. "How are you doing this?" The temperature in the studio dropped so suddenly I could see my breath. The computer monitors flickered. And then, impossibly, I heard footsteps in the hallway outside. Small footsteps, like a child's, accompanied by a wet, dragging sound. Every rational part of my brain screamed at me to stay in the locked studio. But something compelled me forward. I opened the door. The hallway stretched before me, longer than it should have been. The lights at the far end seemed miles away, pulsing with a sickly yellow glow. The footsteps had stopped, but I could hear breathing, ragged, painful breathing, coming from the direction of the basement stairs. The basement. Of course. When the building had been a funeral home, the basement was where they'd done the embalming. According to local legend, the owner's daughter had disappeared down there in 1952, never to be found. Her mother, driven mad with grief, had waited every night by the basement door until she died of a heart attack in 1968. "This is insane," I whispered, but my feet were already moving toward the stairwell. The door to the basement stood ajar, something I'd never seen in 3 years. We kept it locked, station policy. The air wafting up from below smelled wrong, formaldehyde mixed with something organic and decayed. I pulled out my phone, turned on the flashlight, and descended. Each step groaned under my weight. The wooden railing was sticky with something I didn't want to identify. My phone light barely penetrated the darkness below, but I could see shapes, old furniture, boxes, the hulking shadow of what might have been embalming equipment. "Hello." My voice sounded small and foolish. "Is someone down here?" The static erupted in my ears again, except I wasn't wearing headphones anymore. It was surrounding me, filling the air itself. Through it, the child's voice returned, but now it was all wrong. Too deep, Too old, layered with something that sounded like dozens of voices speaking in unison. We've been waiting for someone to hear us, Marcus, waiting so long in the dark. I spun around, and my phone light caught something that made my stomach drop. Scratched into the concrete wall, over and over again, were words. She never left, she never left. She never left. The scratches were fresh. I could see where fingernails had torn away, leaving dark stains in the grooves. Oh, God! I breathed, backing away. That's when I bumped into something behind me. I wheeled around, phone light shaking in my trembling hand, and saw her, a little girl, maybe 7 years old, stood in the darkness just beyond my light. Her dress was from another era, the 1950s, I thought distantly, but it was her face that destroyed me. Half of it was normal, innocent, terrified. The other half was gone, revealing bone and something moving beneath, something that pulsed and writhed. She said she'd come back, the girl whispered with a ruined mouth. But she didn't. She left me here with them. I managed to choke out. The girl tilted her head, and I heard that wet dragging sound again, closer now, coming from deeper in the basement. The ones who stayed. The ones who died here and never left. They are so angry, Marcus. They are so hungry. The darkness behind her began to move. I saw shapes emerging, twisted form that had once been human, their bodies contorted and wrong, preserved by chemicals and rage and something far worse than death. They'd been the funeral home's clients, the forgotten dead left to rot in a basement that had become their prison. Why me? I gasped, stumbling backward. Why are you doing this? The girls remaining I filled with tears. Because you can hear us. Because you listened when we called. And now, her voice changed, becoming that terrible chorus again. Now you can stay. They surged forward, and I ran. I don't remember climbing those stairs. I don't remember slamming the basement door and dragging a filing cabinet in front of it. I don't remember calling 911, screaming into the phone about dead things in the basement, about a little girl who'd been missing for 70 years. The police came at dawn. They found the basement empty except for old furniture and embalming equipment. They found no scratches on the walls, no fresh marks, no evidence anyone had been down there in decades. But they did find something else. In the crawl space behind the basement wall, a space that shouldn't have existed according to the building's blueprints, they found skeletal remains. A woman and a child, locked in an eternal embrace. The woman's fingers were worn to bone, as if she'd spent years clawing at the walls. The medical examiner estimated they'd been. The little girl's mother had come back after all. She died trying to find her daughter in the dark. I quit that night. Haven't been back to WKRP since. But sometimes, at exactly 3:33 a.m., my phone fills with static. And through it, I can hear them, not just a girl and her mother, but all of them. The forgotten dead, still waiting in the darkness, still calling out to anyone who will listen. Last night, the static was louder than ever. And through it, I heard a new voice. Mine, calling from somewhere dark and cold, begging someone to hear me, to help me find my way back. I don't think I ever really left that basement.